Welcome, everybody, to Real Wreckers,
where we are all things movie,
all things TV,
all things nerd.
Today on Real Wreckers, we have something that I've been wanting to do
for so long.
Yes.
You've been prying at the board for this, at the idea board.
Exactly. I've been wanting this since, I don't know. I think it was one of our first. I think it was the first month after we started doing the show. I was like, I want to do this. And then you responded with, no, we have to save that for when we're running out of ideas.
So you're saying we're running out of ideas?
We're running out of ideas.
It's that,
We have to pad out until I see enough Studio Ghibli movies for us to actually do an episode.
Yeah, that's gonna take just about 2-3 more movies worth of preparation. And
last
making
time
sure we
you
get our
said 2
guests.
more, and then I watched 1.
Well, you listen. We got to get them all in, all right? There's some that I haven't seen that I actually need to catch up on also.
Okay.
So yeah, for that, also we need to make sure we get our special guest in for that specifically.
Who was in last episode that we need to get back in person this time.
Yes, shout out to Cordo. You were amazing over the phone, impromptu. Well, not impromptu, it was planned.
But it was delayed. It was delayed due
Yes.
to technical difficulties.
No, those were totally intentional. It was part of the remix, I swear. But yeah, for that, we want to have her come in person because she's the reason I'm on radio, so. Or one of.
Well, with that said, today on Real Wreckers,
we're
sorting Avengers characters from the MCU into Hogwarts houses.
Into their Hogwarts houses. The Avengers.
Yes. The Avengers,
into their Hogwarts houses.
The Avengers, but not just the Avengers. We're doing their sidekicks. We're doing their villains. We're doing a whole cascade of MCU characters, and we're sorting them into one of the 4 Hogwarts houses from Harry Potter.
He tormented me about this relentlessly.
Yes.
He wanted this to happen.
I've been wanting to sort fictional characters into their Harry Potter houses for so long. It was between Marvel and Star Wars for me, and I was like, no, I think Marvel would be better.
Well, also, we technically, as all things nerd encompassing umbrella of content,
we haven't done much Marvel.
When we needed to do something Marvel, especially for Spider-Man, because that is the face of Marvel. Come on,
nowadays that's the face of. Actually, no. Kevin Feige has confirmed that Doctor Strange is the new face of Marvel.
But like, come on, dude, the all-time face of Marvel throughout history. It's weird. It's long enough, like civil rights age. Like that's how long it's been. I think the 60s.
Yeah, it would be between Captain America and Spider-Man, and now that Captain America is just sort of dead.
Well, no, just old.
Nope, he did.
No, he's old.
Nope, he did.
Listen, I literally saw him talking to Congress in a speech the other day. Trust me, I'm pretty sure I know he's alive. So
I love what you did there.
Everyone making that joke. I had to slip it in at some point. But yeah, for me though, Spider-Man for a while is going to still be the face of Marvel. Strange, as the new face, yeah, sure. Over time, he might become just the face if he's like popular. I mean, like, for new comics, Strange is like it.
I mean, most of the big events that have happened in the MCU nowadays have happened because of Doctor Strange or the Sorcerer related to his franchises.
Mm-hmm. And also, he's like, I would call him like the center, like a singular point. You know how like the center of a top doesn't move, everything around it spins?
Yeah.
He's like that. He is literally like a standstill, like strong position.
He is the sun in the Milky Way galaxy that is the MCU.
Yes. And wow, I still can't believe we haven't done anything really Avengers related besides Spider-Man, but that's Spider-Man related, which is more encompassing Marvel.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed that we ran out to the point where you managed to slip this in.
Exactly.
And we finally get to do something Avengers related because you're a nerd. We're nerds.
Absolutely. So before we get into the sorting, let's just do a quick recap of the 4 Hogwarts houses themselves. What are the categories for a character to be placed into these houses? For one, you have Gryffindor, the house of ambition, the house of bravery, nerve, chivalry. This is the one where they have the motto of do what is right.
The jocks, the main characters, the heroes don't always have to be like main, but like usually they're the driven. They can be silent, they can be loud, but usually they're just the ambiguous protagonist.
Exactly. When you think of the big, strong hero, these are usually the characters you think of.
Or just the hero, the blanket hero.
Exactly. And on that note, we also go into Hufflepuff, the house of loyalty, patience, dedication. These
Balance, I'd say some balance.
absolutely balanced. These are the characters who always follow the mantra of do what is kind.
Or like try to do what is right.
No, that is Gryffindor. They do.
Oh yeah,
Gryffindor
try to
does
do
what is
kind.
right.
Yeah.
Hufflepuff does what is kind.
Moral. What is moral?
Exactly. If a Gryffindor thinks that the right thing to do is to go against morals, they'll do that.
But Hufflepuffs will say no, the moral is the correctness.
If anything, I would say that Hufflepuff have a more strict moral code than Gryffindors.
Gryffindors have a strict code, period, but Hufflepuff beat them in a moral code.
Absolutely. And then we move on to Ravenclaw, the house of wisdom,
The
wit,
nerds,
intelligence.
Book
Absolutely
nerds,
intelligent.
bookworms.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dalton. What's your Hogwarts house again?
It's still Gryffindor.
No, it's Ravenclaw.
No.
I'm the Gryffindor. I'm still the Gryffindor.
I'm the nerd of the nerd show. What are you? What are you? Oh, you're the hero boy?
Exactly.
You don't look like a hero boy. You look like a Slytherin to me.
Oh yeah, why am I a host? Yeah, there you go.
All right, I'm slipping back there.
No!
I'm coming.
No! No!
Come here. No, I'm coming back
Oh
there.
my God,
I'm
no!
coming back there. I'm
No!
coming back there.
No!
No. I thought it was funny. I can't hear myself. Give me 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm doing this to you. No. Did I mention that he's claustrophobic? So
Absolutely. So
ironically, I'm in the corner though, so I slipped past him.
Ravenclaw.
I'm doing this to you.
Ravenclaw follows the mantra of do what is wise. Go back to your space. Go back to your space.
Yeah,
You're making me uncomfortable.
Ravenclaw follows the nerd mentality. Did you just mute me?
I'm about to.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, okay.
I'm about to mute you.
Okay.
Go back over there.
Okay, listen.
You know my pet peeve.
You're just jealous because I'm the real nerd here.
Yes, I'm jealous.
I'm gonna pet.
I'm very jealous.
I'm gonna pet you, you peeve.
No! That just sounds wrong in so many ways.
I'll pet your peeve.
Ew, that just makes it weird. Anyway,
That's what they called me in high school, the pet peever.
we then move on to the final house, Slytherin, the house of ambition, cunning. They are the true leaders of Hogwarts because they are willing to stab anyone in the back to become the leader. They follow the mantra of do what is necessary.
Which I would say is a hard antithesis to the Hufflepuff mentality.
Oh, absolutely. I would argue that Hufflepuff and Slytherin are more polar opposites than Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Mm-hmm. Gryffindor and Slytherins can work together at times. I feel like they can work alongside.
Exactly. Like the Gryffindor.
It's like oil sits on top of water. Water does not combust with oil.
Yeah, if in a government, the Slytherins would be the leaders, the Gryffindors would be the generals.
Yes. Like, still leaders, but usually of an action of a force, not of a dictation.
Exactly. And with that said, now that we've recapped the 4 Hogwarts houses, let's get into the 20 characters we have to sort.
Heroes and some villains.
Exactly. And we're going to start off with R.I.P., the original big face of the MCU, Iron Man. What house would Tony Stark be in?
Tony Stark
Absolutely.
sees himself as a Gryffindor, from what I would think, especially MCU specifically, but he is a Ravenclaw.
You would say he's a Ravenclaw?
He's a book nerd who thinks he's a Ravenclaw who thinks they're a Gryffindor.
I would argue nearly the exact polar opposite.
No way.
I would say that he views himself as a Ravenclaw. He views himself as the wisest and wittiest and most creative of all the Avengers, more so than even Bruce Banner. However, in his heart of hearts, he is a Slytherin.
In his heart of hearts?
In his heart of hearts, in his arc reactor heart of hearts, he is a Slytherin. Because that creativity can also fall, that Ravenclaws are very associated with, also falls into ambition and cunning and just...
He's cunning, but he's not ambitious like a Gryffindor, like not a direct action taker.
Exactly. Like, there are two schools of thought that make me think, oh, Tony Stark is a Slytherin. One, the line that Obadiah Stane has in the very first Iron Man movie when he's shooting out one of his coworkers. Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. That is resourceful. That is the type of resourcefulness that you can only find a Slytherin having the will to do.
But I feel like he was spineless enough that he would Ravenclaw his way out with his knowledge, with his ability. He was fed knowledge from the start. He knew. He tinkers.
My other school of thought about Slytherin is Ultron. The whole creation of Ultron is meant to do what is necessary in order to make the world safe. It comes from his PTSD. That is fear acting out in order to protect the many. That is doing what is necessary. That is not doing what is wise.
I oppose that with the knowledgeability and passiveness through scholarliness, like knowing, putting yourself above, of vision. Quite literally the antithesis to your Ultron argument, which technically mine wins because vision, spoiler alert from 2012, the vision beats the Ultron.
2015.
2015. Oh,
Yep,
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of
2015.
Avengers 1. But yeah, the scholarliness of the vision created from the same mentality that created Ultron.
I would say that scholarliness comes from more of Jarvis than it does Iron Man, because in many ways, Jarvis, throughout his days when he was just AI, always put Tony Stark in his place through his wit. Tony Stark is witty, but that's not his defining characteristic. It is his arrogance in many ways. His arrogance, but his loyalty to his friends, that he's willing to go above their heads in order to do what he thinks will protect them. That is far from the type of loyalty, the more personal loyalty of Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, but that is also more ambitious than the more contemplative Ravenclaw.
I see him as the least contemplative, though, among scholars. Like, he does not read, he does not, push the glasses between his eyes. He's more of, he just has it behind him. He has, like, a filing cabinet of, like, information he can just pull from. He literally pulls it from around him. He wouldn't be as visceral and violent when he's attaining anything. When he's fighting, he's literally, like, doing calculations with an assistant, usually. It's not always Jarvis now because of the vision. Yeah. But with the creation of those, and also working alongside, like, functioning best with other scholars like Bruce Banner. He functions better in a less visceral environment.
I would argue
progress was made.
When saying that, I would say that we don't have it on this list because it's very obvious. Bruce Banner's a Ravenclaw, obviously. But saying that makes me think even more that Tony Stark is a Slytherin, because in Avengers, when they were on the helicarrier, Tony was actually trying to prod the Hulk out of Bruce Banner, and Captain America took offense to that. But he was actually trying to see the Hulk. That is not a wise move. That is not a very creative move.
No,
that is a move
for the
to
sake
try
of knowledge. He wants to know, but
that is a cunning move.
His actions can be Slytherin, but his knowledgeability and his seeking of the information to find out, what does it take to take down a super soldier? What does it take to bring out the Hulk? He seeks the knowledge. He seeks the knowledge first, but his ways of getting it can at first be subtle, and then they can be visceral. So his actions are Slytherin, but his personality is still Ravenclawing.
I would say that you're right in that one regard, but that leaves us with a hat stall. For those of you who don't know, a hat stall in Harry Potter, because I'm a huge nerd and I know this, is when the sorting hat is placed on a person's head for over 5 minutes and the sorting hat cannot decide which of the houses, if it's between 2 houses or all 4, which one a student should be placed in. And at that point, it is up to the student to decide which of the houses the sorting hat says is the best for them. And I do think it would be between a hat stall between Slytherin and Ravenclaw. It's up to a matter of which do we think Tony would be put in. Which do we think that Tony would put himself in.
Now that razor, you just cut down the middle with that too, because it would be down to his choice.
Would he goes for the wise and witty?
In my argument, where I said his visceral actions could be Slytherin, but usually he starts scholarly. He always seeks the information first, takes the action if an opposing action blocks the knowledge ability. So I say he would still go Ravenclaw, go knowledge, go smarts.
I would say he would
All things nerd.
go Slytherin, he would go cunning, he would go ambitious.
Ambitious?
Ambitious.
That seems like a very weak point. He's not.
I'm sorry, what would you call
ambition of
making
his
50
mind.
suits of armor in the span of less than a year?
Tinkering, testing, modeling, nerding. Not quite, buff muscle or, slidey in the background. He has them displayed like bright
I
up
would
in
say
front.
I would also say that the whole point of Civil War, the whole point of the Sokovia Accords, the fact that Tony is the leader of the Sokovia Accord defenders, I would say that puts him in the Slytherin category because he thinks that everyone should do it, and if you're not a part of it, then you are against him. That mindset of you're either with me or against me is too conservative to be Ravenclaw.
But that is only when he is pushed to his visceral action, when he's forced to take action, take a hard slant in action, not by his natural mentality.
I would say that is his natural mentality, to take control. He feels out of control when he realizes that there are aliens far beyond in the universe that he cannot possibly fathom. He feels out of control. So what does he do? So what does he do? He makes tons of suits of armor for every single possible reason that he could possibly think to have a piece of armor specify for.
Now, that could have just been him continuing the weapons program, but instead he chose the knowledgeable way of self-sufficient, intelligent armor. Instead of just pure war, pure defense, he goes for, I'm also going to build a net around the planet, a smart net around the planet, to which all of my technology that I encompass from my mind, along with my calculations that I assist with, because I calculated how to form them. I think he goes scholarly before he takes action.
I think we have to move on from this. I think we have to agree to disagree on this.
Agree to disagree?
I'm with Slytherin. Yeah.
I'm with Ravenclaw.
Yeah. All right, so now we come to Captain America, which...
1, 2, 3...
No, you're not going to say it. You're not going to agree with me.
No,
I have a defense, but you're not going to agree with me.
No way.
Say what you're going to say, because I feel like you're going to say the obvious one.
Hufflepuff.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we had the same one.
No way.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Gryffindor. I was like, no, I have an entire defense for Hufflepuff.
Once again, natural state versus action. Because Harry could have been a Slytherin. He was supposed to be. But his base state is Hufflepuff. He is a balanced leader. Cap, you would think, hero, Gryffindor, action take. He's moral. He puts morals before everything. Even as a leader, he's like, okay, at this one instance, Hulk, go for it. Like, morally, you have to do this. You're not mad at me. You're going to smile at me when you do this.
Exactly. Like with Iron Man, why I personally think Iron Man is a Slytherin, there are two scenes that I think fully commit Captain America to the identity of Hufflepuff. One is when he is trying to talk Bucky into letting him enlist in World War II. There are two things that he says. One, he says there are dozens of guys like me trying to fight and risking their lives. I have no right to put myself above their own and stay behind.
That is a moral statement, not a moral action.
Exactly. And the second thing that he says to the doctor when the doctor asks him if he wants to kill Nazis, he responds, I don't want to kill anyone. I just don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
That is not that is anti-Slytherin, basically. That is like, I will not take any visceral action. I will only stop a moral inequity.
Exactly. And the other scene that I think fully identifies Captain America as a Hufflepuff is when the Avengers are having an entire party in Age of Ultron, and they're all lifting the hammer, and they're all failing, when Captain America slightly lifts it. It has been confirmed
He could have
lifted it all along. He chose not to. That sort of humbleness you can't find in Gryffindor. That is That is the type of humble that you can only find in a Hufflepuff.
For a Gryffindor, that could have been a show of strength. He's a Hufflepuff, you know?
Exactly.
He's a Hufflepuff.
He's a Hufflepuff.
But yeah, his moral ambiguity. Did I use ambiguity correctly?
No. Moral ambiguity would mean that he has gray areas.
Okay, no. His moral solidity.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a Hufflepuff. He believes in moral balance, not direct action and not show and prowess.
Exactly.
It just comes with his morality, personality.
Exactly. And with that said, we move on to probably what we were arguing against for Cap, in my opinion, which is Thor. We can both say it.
1, 2, 3.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's not book smart at all. He hates reading, even though he had the royal collection of royal space.
Exactly. And
royal Norse space book.
And even
Space
after
book.
going through his arc in Thor 1, when he learned to become a more selfless person, even after that, he still showed a lot of that sort of bolstering courage that Gryffindors always have.
And it doesn't influence his actions, it influences his reactions, because most of his actions are still passive for others. For himself, he is direct, he is heroic, he is going on his journey. He's like, this is my journey, this is my, rise to the throne.
Exactly. This is where I think Chris Hemsworth really shows how much he understands the character of Thor, because a lot of Thor Ragnarok was improvised. And that sort of his understanding of just how full of himself Thor really is, but he can still be a little bit humble as to make him seem a bit more humanable, just makes him so much more relatable, even though he's bigger than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
He has the biggest mentality that you can only find Gryffindors holstering.
He's got Gryffindor godliness. And
Exactly.
he knows it, and he's conscious of it. His mentality and his actions perfectly it's a straight line. There's no dividing point. There's 2 gray areas maybe for people he's known forever, and something that he really, really wants.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, it's a Gryffindor. Look at it.
Exactly.
Listen to it, talk to it, relate to it. It's a Gryffindor. Yeah.
I think that a Hufflepuff, when he was put in the position where he had to try to take on Hela in the throne room of Odin, when he was talking to her, I feel like a Hufflepuff would have tried to convince her to see the more human side of her, let the compassion come out. But he said, "No, you can't rule. You're just the worst."
That is upfront, heroic, direct intervention.
Exactly. So, with that said, I think we can both agree. Thor, Gryffindor.
Debate, open and close, no debate.
Yeah, I think we could still argue for Iron Man, but I feel like Cap and Thor, we were solid on.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, let's move on to Black Widow. What do you think?
For me, actually, also a Gryffindor.
Oh.
Because she's not super show-offy. She's a jock. She is kind of show-offy also in many manners, that leg wrap move where she just kind of hits you on the head repeatedly until you're knocked out. Also, to a trillionaire from across the planet, I can disable your billion-something dollar super metal with zap, done, zap, done. She has the same cockiness as a lot of generic action character. Leather jacket, take down the Sky Fortress, go around in this super military Jeep muscle car. And she takes direct action, and a lot of her stuff is more sly, sarcastic comments.
I would say that Black Widow is a Slytherin.
I can see it.
But she's not the type of Slytherin that is completely upfront like a Draco Malfoy. She's more of a Severus Snape type of Slytherin. She's more under the radar. I will do the dirty work that no one wants to do, but I'm not going to take any pride in it, and I'm not going to be upfront with it. I will do what needs to be done, and that is it. I don't want the blame. I don't want the attention.
But when it comes to confrontation, her actions are pretty Gryffindor, I'd say. Pretty upfront, pretty open.
I would say that what I'm taking influence from is not only her upbringing as a Black Widow spy, but also a lot of what she does naturally. Like in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, when they're infiltrating the Shield, what is it, a battleship? The Shield battleship, while Cap is busy taking control of of the ship and making sure that all the terrorists are taken down, she is busy taking all of the information that the ship has.
I thought it was a cargo ship.
Might have been a cargo ship.
Was there cargo crates on it? It was like one of those
I think it was an
giant
information cargo ship.
an information cargo ship. Those are a thing.
Maybe.
I think those are just underwater sea cables. You know, the entire internet's just one big cable under
But
the
while
ocean.
everyone else is taking control of the ship and making sure that all the terrorists are taken down, she's busy taking all of the information from the computers on the ship and downloading it for Nick Fury. She is going above everyone else, above her teammates on the strike team.
Very behind the scenes with her actions.
Exactly. I would say that she is an example of a good Slytherin. Like Tony Stark,
still
in my
sly,
opinion.
put the sly in Slytherin, but
Exactly.
like
I would
not.
say that Tony Stark is a bit of a, for me personally, Tony Stark's a bit of a gray Slytherin. She is a good Slytherin. She ends up being a good Slytherin. She does what is necessary in the very end, and that is she sacrifices her own life because she has no one. There is no one who would.
I guess.
No, it's.
Dude,
it's the second highest grossing movie of all time.
Like we all cried together. If you missed it, you missed it. Catch up. 23 movies. Go ahead.
Exactly.
But for her, I still say Gryffindor in what you actually said at the end with the direct action with.
Oh no, I wouldn't. Oh
what
no,
has
she
to be
was
done.
I would definitely call her heroic, but I would also call her a bit more logical in her heroism, because while Clint could have sacrificed himself, he would have had family who would have missed him, and she would have had to grieve with them.
She has no
one.
argument.
She has no one.
For the next one, for Hawkeye, you're supporting my argument. But
Yeah.
for her, I would say she is a conflicted Gryffindor because she does not go to the absolute most. She will do the absolute most, but she will not cross a lot of boundaries.
I would say she would.
Well, she wouldn't cross it for others in a moral way. She would still, like, she would hesitant.
I would say
for
that
others,
even a
she
lot
would be
of her
hesitant.
I would say that even a lot of her actions in Black Widow, the movie, confirms that she's a Slytherin.
Because of
All the double crosses that she makes at the very climax of the movie, trying to infiltrate the Red Room. She was fully willing to knock out her entire family and take one of their identities in order to get closer to the villain.
Well, she knew it was an absolute she had to go to complete her needs. So I'd say that's more
But
heroic.
that type of absolute, I would say, confides with Slytherin, because a Gryffindor, I would say, would tell her family that, okay, here's the plan. A Slytherin would be like, it's better if you don't know the plan. Bam, bam, bam.
You know what? I think you've pushed me.
Yeah!
So, Hawkeye or Black Widow,
Yep.
Slytherin.
Yeah, and with that victory out of the way, let's move in to Hawkeye. 3, 2, 1. Hufflepuff.
He's
Yes.
moral. He has a family. He has a family. Did I mention he has a family?
Exactly.
He's thinking about on the battlefield. Who he's thinking about, helping out, even when he's helping out someone else, completely unrelated.
Yep.
Family.
I would say that
Family.
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 I would say that he is the perfect example of, because Hufflepuffs usually have this sort of goody two-shoes mentality. He is a perfect example of an anti-hero Hufflepuff.
Baddie two shoes. Still two shoes. But
Exactly. He's willing to go to violent means, but he's never willing. But from what we've seen, at least, he's never been willing to kill.
No, he literally. That's a great thing about his character is
Have you seen all of Hawkeye yet?
halfway.
Okay. So spoil. I'm gonna. There are.
Spoiler warning for Hawkeye on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
5.
I was
for
no. I
Hawkeye.
wasn't going to go into spoilers because you're not fully done, and there are more examples of why he is fully a Hufflepuff in the rest of the series.
Am I going to be disappointed the whole way through because I'm having a rough time watching it?
Really?
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't.
First 2 episodes are bad, I will admit, but they get better as they go along.
The whole role play thing was actually really funny, but
Oh, I hated it.
you see that we can't agree.
Yeah, we can't agree. We can't agree except for on a couple things, and even then, sometimes we change our minds halfway through.
It's just like okay, I pummeled you into a corner and you melted. All right,
Exactly.
I win.
And
But yeah, for Hawkeye, Hufflepuff, because of his morals, because of his push for others, it's always for others, and it literally breaks him. when
Hufflepuff's
it's not
first
him.
mentality is loyalty, and Hawkeye is ungodly loyal.
He was literally loyal to the very end. When he has no choice, he breaks. He
Possibly
doesn't break
more-
down. He doesn't impose on others. He just shuts down.
Possibly more loyal than, in my opinion, he could be more loyal than Steve Rogers.
Yes, I actually argue that he is.
Yeah.
Steve would have done some unnecessary blah 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 blah, like just to squiggle the outcome.
Yep.
But Hawkeye is human. He is literally the most human thinking, like level-headed one among those who are like godly.
Exactly. And hardworking. He makes all of those arrows by himself.
Wow, that's dedication. That's
Yes.
loyalty. That's patience. That's balance.
That is Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
So, with that out of the way, let's move on to our lesser Avengers. We've moved on from the main 5. Let's move on to some
The Phase 1 iconics.
Exactly. Let's move on to the future MCU heroes. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. So, I feel like we're gonna have a similar Iron Man discussion with Doctor Strange because in many ways, Doctor Strange and Iron Man are very similar.
Oh yeah, you kidding
Yeah.
me? It's ironic too.
It's literally
because
an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object in terms of personalities.
Yes, but the fact that they are almost identical objects, just
Exactly.
one is immovable, one is unstoppable. It sounds like opposites, but everything else about them clashes. You know?
Exactly.
But
Oh, never do that again.
what
Never do that again. That's sign language.
for what?
The F word.
That.
Yes.
So if you take the bottom of both of your fists, like pinky
That,
end,
friends taught me that.
no way.
Yes. I hate. So with that said,
every time
what house would you put Doctor Strange in?
Slytherin.
Oh, wait, Slytherin.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No way.
I feel like the reason we are putting Doctor Strange in Slytherin, I feel confident in putting Doctor Strange in Slytherin, is mainly due to the fact of a lot of what-if scenarios. The what-if scenarios, what Doctor Strange 2 is teasing us to see, and what he tried to do in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, pretty much. It once again supports my whole visceral moral code I've built up for all of this. The choices he will make, they will often be very for himself. In literally a hypothetical what-if scenario, in some other universe, he makes the choice. He makes his choice, not the choice. Not for others, sort of for others, but really...
It's really for him.
It's self-fulfillment, Gryffindor style, but like visceral action taken,
But
and
no
visceral
remorse.
morals.
There is no remorse.
The morals are visceral. Like,
The ends
Or to
always
the means.
justifies the means.
the means are straight to the ends.
That's the mentality of Slytherin, and I feel like that's the mentality of Doctor Strange.
Absolutely. Pretty much a lot of what we argued about for Tony, what you argued about for Tony, I'm still not redacting it. He's a Ravenclaw. But for Strange, I would say he still holds a hard Slytherin lean. Maybe
I can see-
big Ravenclaw aspects, big Hufflepuff, moral balance. This is the only way I had to do it.
He's definitely not a Gryffindor.
But it's not actually because he literally like could have done it X, Y, and Z other way, but just to get at Tony, like just to gash him in the side. That's Slytherin. That is so hard Slytherin. That is where him and Tony don't meet.
Exactly. And once again, like with Black Widow, like my argument for Black Widow, Doctor Strange is Slytherin because when he sees all the timelines and sees only one where the Avengers can beat Thanos,
It wasn't the only one either, though.
instead of telling the plan to anyone else, he decided to keep it to himself and let everything play out.
As a behind-the-scenes lead. Not
Exactly.
leader, but a lead of behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Because he's not a leader of others. He is a lead of everything.
Exactly.
And only himself. Everything and him.
Yes. Doctor Strange, Slytherin.
Slytherin. Hard Slytherin.
And with that said, I think we can move on to, once again, pretty easy, Captain Marvel.
1, 2, 3.
Gryffindor. Yeah.
Dude, she is
the jock. She is the jock of the Avengers.
Absolutely. Jock of the universe, to be honest. Like,
Absolutely.
Griffith.
She has a mohawk helmet.
She can embarrass Thor. I argue that she can embarrass Thor. I accidentally wrote Gryffindor. Like,
She had the nerve to stand up to Thor so much that he had to admit, I like her.
yeah, like she is the powerhouse of powerhouses, the buff of the buff, the fighter of the fighter, the jawbreaker of the jawbreaker.
She has arguably her coolest moment in Avengers Endgame when she's fighting Thanos.
Spoilers.
Thanos.
I know.
No one cares.
No.
Thanos headsbutts her, no reaction. That is the type of steel. That is the type of steel look of toughness that only Gryffindors have.
Like, dude, I cannot begin to explain. Like, I call her reverse Goku also.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, literally reverse Goku, where the cockiness comes first. Like Japanese Goku more. I'm wearing a Dragon Ball shirt right now, which doesn't help. But for her, it's like alien comes to Earth, learns morals. Person gets sent to alien mission, gets alien powers, comes to Earth, is human, fights green guy.
Fights. Well, I mean, technically they're green guys.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, they were wearing green.
Literally, Dragon Ball Evolution could not do what the Skrulls did unintentionally by making a perfect Piccolo. But yeah, for Captain Marvel, come on.
It's Gryffindor. And with that said, let's move on to Black Panther. First of all, R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Rest in paradise, rest in glory, Chadwick Boseman.
Rest in power.
Rest in power.
Absolutely. So with that said, what would you put Black Panther in?
What would you put Black Panther in?
I had a tough time because there's not much. There is a lot with him. There's just not much that he identifies with overwhelming personality traits that relate to one of the houses. I would say Gryffindor.
I'm gonna say Hufflepuff still.
Okay, so I can see Hufflepuff, but here's my mentality.
I can also see Ravenclaw, but it's not opposing. It's a lack of. Like, they're very disconnected.
True. Here's my mentality with Gryffindor. With Gryffindor relating to Hufflepuff. Hufflepuffs, I feel like will never kill a person. That will never be their first priority. They will always try to seek the diplomatic solution. Gryffindors punch first. Diplomatic solutions, maybe sometime down the line, but first reaction is fight, maybe even kill if that's the case.
Slytherin slash your tires before a race starts.
Oh, absolutely. But here's why I think Black Panther is a Gryffindor. Because when he was chasing Claw in in the movie, when he was chasing Ulysses Claw, and he eventually got him, and he eventually literally unarmed him. He eventually got to the time where Claw actually said, "Mercy, I beg mercy," and he says, "Every breath you take is mercy from me." And he was about to kill him. He was fully ready to kill him, which I do not think is a Hufflepuff move. I feel like that is the red-hotted temper of a Gryffindor right there.
Or the worst Hufflepuff. He's still right over the line of Hufflepuff. He's over the fence, but he's still in Hufflepuff territory, but he is like burning through the walls of Hufflepuff to Gryffindor.
This is where I think the loyalty of Hufflepuff and Gryffindor are sort of find their gray area.
The loyalty doesn't pull its punches.
Exactly. Here's the thing, because in a civil war, when his father dies and Zemo is the killer, and even when Winter Soldier is the killer, his first reaction is, "No, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. I will kill you."
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a Hufflepuff would take more time to grieve, and then eventually find, you know what, killing's still not the way. I'm going to take moments to grieve, but that's it. Gryffindors, I feel like, no, you killed my father, you are dead.
I think the Hufflepuff mourned, but did not have enough time to mourn because the Gryffindor in him like picked up in a snap. But his morals, when we say what is absolutely moral, we don't say what is generally conceived to be right. We say what is the most moral to him. Well, an eye for an eye for this situation. The moral is an eye for an eye. You took one of mine, I take you, or I take one of yours. So you don't have one of yours, so I'm just going to take you.
I feel like but the do the right thing mentality with Gryffindors, I feel like relates to him also, because when Killmonger comes back and invokes the right of combat for the throne,
loyalty steps in before.
No,
I say.
True, but he says, "No, nope, you have that right. I will give it to you, but I will win." He loses.
Still,
I feel like that
the
is
loyalty, the accept. A Slytherin would have refused, or would have, cheated.
Absolutely, he would have. A Slytherin would have refused and said, "No, I'm the king. You're too late. You've missed the ceremony."
Bam, gone. Like out of my country, out of my kingdom.
Ravenclaws, I don't even think would be king. I feel like they're a bit too. I would feel like they would take too much of a back seat in and stay in the library.
You're literally describing Shuri.
Exactly.
Like
she wouldn't want to be queen.
And if she becomes queen, she would literally establish her first law as, okay, I'm going to rip it apart and set up something much more correct.
Literally what Shang-Chi's sister did in the movie.
Like, come on. You can see where the I'm on the sidelines. That doesn't mean I'm not, intervening. If you're going to elect me to this spot. Okay, we're going to correct this because this is not a good spot. It's just going to recycle the issue that put me here.
When I think of the upfront leader, I always think of Gryffindor. When I think of the backseat leader, who is still as nice, possibly even nicer than the Gryffindor, I would say Hufflepuff.
Oh, I would say Ravenclaw.
I would say that T'Challa, Black Panther, represents that mentality of the upfront leader that Gryffindor is.
I would just represent him as the most action-taking Hufflepuff, loyalty to violence. Like the loyalty straight to violence. And the violence is usually justified by the moral.
I would say that loyalty that steeps into violence is more reminiscent of Gryffindor than it is Hufflepuff.
So I'd say we are yin-yang.
I would say that, once again, like with Iron Man, we agree to disagree.
But it's very, like, the
we
wall
see
is very
we
thin.
see each other's sides. It's just that we can't find common ground within them.
The common ground is where we chase each other at the tail, pretty
Exactly.
much. If
So-
you can't, I'm doing a yin-yang thing with my hands right now.
So with that said, let's move on to the next Avenger, Ant-Man. I've heard some weird arguments for Ravenclaw, but I feel like the answer is obviously Hufflepuff.
Obviously Hufflepuff?
I feel like he's obviously Hufflepuff.
I don't know. He seems pretty...
He's too goofy to be anything else.
He can be a goofy Gryffindor. Himbo Gryffindor.
Nah, because once again, I feel like he wouldn't. His type of action is last resort.
But it's still direct. He still takes direct action. I'm a hero. I'm one of the big guys. Look at me.
No, but
Mom.
I also reminisce about his time as a thief. When he gets out of jail, his first Luis says that he has a job that they can do and they can get big money off of it, and he says, "No, I'm not going to do it." And it takes him a good 20 minutes of the movie, and eventually finding that his job fires him. He's not allowed to get a job anywhere else because of his record, and he is pushed to the point where he's like, I have to do this.
And you would say that is Hufflepuff mentality?
Yes, because it's all for his daughter. He's trying to get custody of his daughter.
But yeah, the heroic choice by any means. Not Slytherin, though. He's still not Slytherin.
I would say that by any means would be a Gryffindor mentality.
Exactly. I say Gryffindor.
I don't feel like that's...
It's not always heroic. It's very direct action, though.
Nope,
Oftentimes in a heroic manner.
because when he's placed under house arrest, his first thought, what does he do for the next couple months? He just stays there. I feel like a Gryffindor eventually would be like, nope, I can't do this anymore. I have to get out of the house. But Scott just stays in the house and finds stuff to do constantly. He is fully okay with his introverted, fun-loving mentality that Hufflepuffs master.
Maybe he's the... I don't know. That still sounds more Ravenclaw minus the being smart. But he's cunning, but he's not smart, if that makes sense. I would say he's the dumbest Ravenclaw.
No?
No?
I feel like...
So you think...
I feel like he fully embodies Hufflepuff. I feel like he embodies Hufflepuff almost as much as Hawkeye. And for nearly all the same reasons.
Because of family and personal choices?
Exactly.
I'd still say Gryffindor for how...
Because remember, Hawkeye was an assassin before he was an Avenger, but his first result was violence. It was always to knock someone out with a trick arrow.
Well, I'd say for Ant-Man, too. Like, for Scott, it's not necessarily always violent heists. It's usually just...
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
exactly. You're just agreeing with me on my Hufflepuff choice.
No, he still takes the direct action because it usually is for the best possible outcome. Also, it takes a real hero to work at Baskin-Robbins.
Baskin-Robbins always knows.
Mm-hmm.
They always find out.
Now that sounds Slytherin.
Yeah, Baskin-Robbins is a Slytherin, confirmed.
My God.
So, once again, we come to an agree to disagree sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, I'm thinking Gryffindor still.
I'm
As a hero?
still on Hufflepuff.
He's a hero though. Like he's
Nope.
a
I would say Hufflepuff because his entire 5 minutes, which I would argue is the best 5 minutes of Avengers Endgame, is when he comes back and he is constantly just searching for his family, constantly just heartbroken. And when he sees that his daughter is fully grown up, what's his first reaction? His first reaction behind her back is sadness and shock. But when he sees her again, his first reaction is just a smile and says, "You're so big." That is the type of moral righteousness that I would associate more with Hufflepuffs than Gryffindors, because Gryffindors would be like, "What happened?" His first reaction is, "Make sure my daughter is okay. Make sure my daughter is emotionally okay."
I'm struggling to agree though, just because he take the actions he takes are so like as a hero he really takes selfless actions, especially when it comes even in like Civil War.
I would argue
he doesn't like shrink, he grows first in a fight.
I would feel like with my case with Ant-Man is your case with Black Panther. He is a morally dubious Hufflepuff.
He's a non-heroic hero, but he takes good actions. He's very witty, but he's not dumb. He's not dumb. He's just not knowledgeable. Probably not good at math. No one's good at long division.
I mean, there is an entire segment in Ant-Man and the Wasp where he changes personalities with Wasp's mother, and it's an entirely different person because he is doing the math and science perfectly.
Then I'm gonna switch to Ravenclaw, honestly.
No,
I was leaning hard on that because
Wait, what did I say make you say Ravenclaw?
he still seems more cunning, more calculating, more action taking.
That's a Slytherin. What you're describing is Slytherin.
But he's not visceral. He's not evil about it. He's not trying to work behind the scenes. He's working out in the open, hiding in plain sight, more or less. Especially when it comes to his size.
No, but
abilities.
I feel like you didn't understand what I said because Wasp's mother took over his body and was perfect at the science. Before that, he couldn't do anything. He just stood there while everyone else was doing the work, and then suddenly, switch.
I don't know. That seems more.
I would say that's Hufflepuff.
No, it seems
That's
also...
the type of lovable dumb that you can only get from Hufflepuff.
You can get lovable dumb himbo energy from a Gryffindor. So I'm gonna stand still at Gryffindor.
All right, so once again,
stand still. Sorry.
Yep.
You can't break this.
I broke you with Black Widow.
Yes, because she is dubious. She is ambiguous.
Now, it's a bit of a harder one, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Bit of a harder one because we've only had one movie with him, but I'm not gonna lie, I do love Shang-Chi.
I like Shang-Chi.
I like the music too.
Yeah, dude, the bass of the punches and the music. Maybe it's IMAX did that. Like when the bus scene still had me reeling. In IMAX, I could not explain like how nicely this was treated. It was so good, especially all the scenes in China were so
they were gorgeous.
Wong in the ring. But
next time if we do a next time, we'll do Wong. But with that said, what would you say, Shang-Chi?
For Shang, that I'm struggling. So
I would say that more of my Gryffindor mentality that I would lean with my choice for putting Black Panther in Gryffindor, because that's sort of just visceral do what is right even when it means killing someone, because he was fully willing to kill his father. He was fully willing to do that because, nope, he's a monster. I have to be ready. I'm going to kill him. And he was going to.
If I don't stop him now, because I'm the one who's best able to.
Before Dragon Ex Machina happened, he was going to kill his father.
Yeah. I'm thinking Gryffindor, but also his willfulness.
He's more introverted Gryffindor.
As I say, his introvertedness, his willingness to learn doesn't always have to be like being calculated. I'm thinking Ravenclaw because of his ability to adapt. With all of the giant environment changes, him not knowing all of the insane things.
I feel like one of the reasons why I would say Gryffindor over that is because when he saw his mother die, and that always stuck with him, that sense of responsibility, like, I could have done something, but I didn't. Even though I was 9 years old, I could have done something, but I didn't. And that just haunted him.
Also, his ability to remember, to understand, and I still feel like his adaptation to any environment, unfamiliar ones, being exposed to things that are completely abstract, like otherworldly, quite literally. I'm still leaning on Ravenclaw because he learns up very quickly.
I would say that he is not creative. I would say that creativity is not his strong point. I wouldn't say wisdom is his strong point. I wouldn't say wit is his strong point. I would say that
I'd say
his
adaptation.
I would say that his courage, his bravery, and his full nerve. It is all scaled back like Harry's sort of Gryffindor mentality. It's scaled back, but it's still always there. And when it shows itself, it's strong.
You know what? The strong loyalty, the remembrance, the will to like fight for others to an absolute, even if it's someone he doesn't know that well. I'm thinking Hufflepuff actually. Like, I'm leaning more towards Hufflepuff the more I'm thinking about it. Like, yeah, his heroic actions are so loyal.
Okay, to be fair, for me it was between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff because in the fight with his sister, his first reaction was, "No, we have to stop. We have to talk. We're going to talk things out." And his sister whooped him.
I think he's Hufflepuff to the kill, you know?
I would say that he is Gryffindor.
But he's so he's emotional. He's loyal.
Exactly.
He's remembering.
Exactly. He's emotional. That's where the headstrong nature of Gryffindor comes from.
He's not. He's headstrong for like.
That's where the
adapting.
hot-headedness of Gryffindor comes from.
But he learns first before he punches back. I feel like a Gryffindor would punch first or punch immediately without like reacting
Hermione
or
didn't.
thinking.
Hermione didn't.
Think about
Hermione
the bus
always,
scene though, because
Hermione studies.
He knew he couldn't punch through a giant glowing hot blade, even if he was like extremely strong. He didn't assume he was invincible at first.
No, but here's the thing. You're still human. He knows he's still human. He knows that getting cut by a very sharp thing will cut him.
So he stops and thinks. He's not so meat-headed. So I'd say that's a loyal Hufflepuff learning.
Loyal Hufflepuff? No. What you just described is not loyal. That's just common sense. Getting cut by a sharp thing will cut me.
A Gryffindor, hard Gryffindor lean would not express that kind of...
You don't think that a Gryffindor would have the mentality to dodge?
No, I think they try to punch through it. like Earthbender style, you know? I think that stubbornness, they don't dodge, they go through.
You're just making me lean more towards Gryffindor.
I'm leaning more into Hufflepuff as we see him personality-wise.
All right, so we're gonna put a pause on that. I'm very disappointed. Next up, we have Spider-Man. Hufflepuff?
Ravenclaw.
Real?
He's a learner, man. He's a nerd.
I would say that he's loyal to a fault.
Yeah, like to his faults, to which Gryffindor climbs his way out.
No, to his faults that he accepts. Mm-hmm. He is loyal to because when he is. Should we say? Yeah, we're gonna spoil No Way Home.
It's been long enough. It's been how many months?
It's out on Blu-ray and digital for about a week now. Okay, you can watch it
at home. Deal with it.
Exactly.
Spoiler. Spider-Man spoiler. Spider-Man 3 spoiler. Spider-Man No Way Home spoiler.
All the Spider-Man spoilers.
You were warned. All three.
Exactly. So, No Way Home, when he and his friends are rejected from, what was it, Harvard or MIT? MIT. When his friends were rejected from MIT, his reaction was to go to Doctor Strange to try to reverse time. This wasn't for himself. This was for his friends. And when he tries to fix everything, when he tries to go to the person who runs MIT and tries to convince her to take back his friends, when she says that she'll take all of them back, his reaction to her is complete shock because he says, "Me?" Because his first reaction was, "No, completely selfless. This is for my friends, not me. I have accepted that I'm a lost cause." And when someone says, "No, you're not a lost cause," his reaction is, "Really?"
Now, his reallys, I interpret as, wait, what is the full context of what is the best way I can figure this out, instead of wait, I'm confused. It's wait, there's more. Like, let me see more. Like, print more pages for me to read.
I would say that in Homecoming, he tries his hardest to embody Gryffindor, and he fails miserably. And when he goes back to his Hufflepuff mentality, trying to save Vulture, trying to appeal to his humanity, to the point where he has fully to the point where Vulture has fully accepted Peter Parker as someone who is loyal, someone who is trustworthy, to the point where he is willing to hide his identity from others. I feel like that sort of infectious loyalty and kindness is full Hufflepuff. That is the type of loyalty that Captain America inspires.
Now, I'd say he wants to be Gryffindor. He wants to be Gryffindor in his actions, but he's very over-calculating. He's constantly self-questioning, so that he has to know for absolute sure, because when he does, it's over in a snap.
I feel like yes, he is smart. Yes, he is math smart. Yes, he is book smart. I feel like even though that is true, I feel like a Hufflepuff could have all of those hobbies. You could be smart, witty, you could be creative, smart, witty, wise, but still have at your core, your drive is loyalty. Your drive is modesty. Your drive is hard work. Your drive is humbleness.
I feel like his drive is still his abilities, but his goals lie in wanting to know. He wants to know, well, what is the best spider web fluid he can ever create? What is the best 3D designs he can create with all of this access to Stark level technology to make his own custom suit? What is the best what's the name? A spoiler for No Way Home, I guess. What is the best thing he can do for himself? One, to afford a New York apartment by himself with no support, unless he's still supported by Stark Industries somehow.
No, but here's the thing. This is where we get to another part. Someone who is very wise. I keep forgetting.
I don't think he's
I keep
wise.
forgetting I keep forgetting your thing is all Ravenclaw and not Gryffindor. But I still don't think at his core he is witty. I don't think at his core he is creative. I don't think at his core he is wise. I think at his core he is loyal. He is modest. He is humble. He is dedicated. I think at his core he is a Hufflepuff.
I don't know. I think his actions.
And when he tries
more.
to do anything else, that's when it usually blows up in his face.
Mm-hmm. And I think he learns more from that as a Ravenclaw.
I feel like he learns, but that could just be personal growth that anyone could have, whether you're Slytherin, whether you're Gryffindor, whether you're Hufflepuff.
But
personal growth
rides off of his abilities.
Personal growth and learning from your experiences is more than just a Ravenclaw type of learning. It is the type of learning that comes with any sort of mature growth.
Yeah, but his is constant into a T.
Like, exactly, because he's an 18-year-old.
Because he's always learning. For him, though, I still say he's emotional, he's loyal, he's dedicated, but he's always He works behind the scenes, not in a Slytherin way. He works around everyone. He works
behind the scenes, yes, but in a Hufflepuff way.
No,
the type of Hufflepuff way that Captain America does.
He's not direct and emotional and loyal unless he is pushed to a corner, though. Unless he's, like, pushed to the edge. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me. For his loyalty, though, he never is so upfront about it. He doesn't hide it. The way that you argued for Ant-Man, you said he was a Hufflepuff?
Yes.
I wouldn't say MCU Peter is like that in the same way. I still think he is more cunning. He's not cunning either. He's
not cunning.
He's not humble necessarily.
I would say that he is undeniably humble when he is doing what he thinks is the morally right thing to do.
He will argue and explain to a T with his calculations, with his evidence, with his understanding. And when he goes wrong, he says, "Okay, let me learn again. Let me rinse, repeat with a different outcome until he gets that new outcome." He still seeks that knowledgeability. He wants to be smart.
I raise you. He's not Ravenclaw because he is not. That's because he's not that smart.
He is
for the reason.
He could have gotten into MIT.
Reason that his first reaction when none of his friends got accepted to MIT wasn't to just call. His first reaction was, okay, oh yeah, one of my friends is an Avenger who can control time. I know him. We're friends. We can do this.
Here, let me do the completely behind the scenes so I don't directly intervene and ruin my interpersonal relationships.
Exactly. That's the type of Hufflepuff modesty and humbleness that I will not take.
No,
credit
the
for.
emotional reaction would have been to call.
I will not
he
take
would have
credit.
gone straight.
Exactly, the type of emotional reaction that.
But he didn't. He went straight to the calculated.
No, that's the logical reaction. That's the Ravenclaw reaction.
Yeah, the Ravenclaw reaction would have been to logically use his upper abilities beyond normal. Oh, I'll just call and try.
His loyalty, his Hufflepuff mentality was calling him to, oh yeah, one of my friends is Doctor Strange. I know him. He has sorcery on his side. We can do this. We can just erase everything.
Here's the stats of the abilities of this thing that I can definitely get a hold of because of my experience in learning with it and how I learned through combat and through my experiences fighting alongside a wizard.
He doesn't know the full stats because he forgot
so he
instantly.
seeks to inform himself. Hence, he's a knowledgeable
He seeks to inform him. What? No. We're moving on from this. We are just getting mad over this. Once again, stand still. Hufflepuff.
Stand still. Ravenclaw.
We move on to Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Slytherin. Yeah. Oh, fine. Well, that's a big change.
I feel like the Slytherins are so behind the scenes, but they're so obvious. They're
exactly
standing right there.
I was literally just watching WandaVision with my mom, who is now watching WandaVision.
She's literally behind the scenes because she controls the scenes.
Exactly. She's controlling everyone for her own personal sake, and when someone points a gun at her, telling her she's doing wrong, her
violent emotional outburst, for others, for herself.
Her first reaction, while she has an entire dome of people she is controlling behind her, her first reaction is to talk to the person holding the guns to her and say, I'm not the one holding the guns. Like, that gives her some sort of moral high ground. No!
That's such a, sarcastic response to be like, well, I didn't shoot that. I wasn't holding the gun.
Exactly.
You're controlling that.
Exactly. And what is the next thing she does? Mind controls the people holding the guns and have them point the guns at themselves.
That's Magneto level.
That is Slytherin. And when we're looking at Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, one of the lines that she has there is when she's talking to Doctor Strange, from what it seems.
In the trailer?
Exactly. She says, when you break the rules, you're a hero. When I break the rules, I'm a villain. That doesn't seem fair.
Oh, her greed to want everything to be fair for her.
Exactly.
When her actions direct... come on.
That's a Slytherin move.
She blames her shortcomings on her upbringing. And, no one else does that. Peter didn't grow up that great until he got picked up by someone, and he didn't change a thing about himself. The only thing that changed was everything around. Scarlet Witch, everything violently changing around her. She doesn't try to form some sort of balance for her. No, she becomes so unstable.
Exactly. And when you look at Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, Quicksilver's first reaction is the typical Gryffindor reaction. Headstrong, run at them, punch them.
I'm literally bulletproof. I'm faster than no, not bulletproof.
Exactly. Her reaction is mind control the Avengers. Make them turn on themselves.
Send one of them a big... make them FaceTime a random blip in space so that he's constantly thinking about it in the background.
Exactly. I think we can both agree. Yeah. She might be the most Slytherin of all of the Avengers.
Up high.
Yeah. All right. Friendship, we regained it from Spider-Man.
Hey, come on. We can debate without ruining our friendship.
And, but with that said, I think we can get another obvious one out of the way. Vision. Ravenclaw.
Yeah. Literally, the ship of Theseus.
The ship of Theseus. And what is love, if not...
Baby, don't hurt me.
What is grief, if not love persevering?
Tony, Wanda, why is the top result, baby, don't hurt me? I was trying to actually look up the... Oh, never mind, it's a song lyric. The entire time.
We think... And that's the whole comedy behind WandaVision, because for most of WandaVision, Vision is just sort of this is depicted as this very dopey character, which is funny because we know his actual character is far from anything dopey.
Cold, but not cruel. He's literally cold and calculating.
He has emotional intelligence along with his book smart intelligence.
But his book smart intelligence completely plays out in front of him, and all of his thought processes are run non-emotionally.
Exactly. And with that said,
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw, yeah.
100%.
We agree. WandaVision, Slytherin, Ravenclaw.
So for Falcon.
Falcon, I would argue Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff?
I was, but it was a 50-50 toss up for me between Gryffindor
Yeah, I'm
and Hufflepuff.
Gryffindor.
Yeah, I can see it.
So,
I can see it.
I was gonna say you half agree with me. So for him, he's a hero, dude. Like he's human, but like, come on, he's like pretty above. Like him versus Hawkeye, it's over.
I would say that my whole mentality behind Falcon being Hufflepuff relies on the shield.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the minute that he got the shield, a Gryffindor, like with what was it? U.S. Agent, I think his name was.
Yeah.
The Captain America replacement, the first one.
Chris Walker.
Exactly. I feel like anyone who is given
John Walker, sorry.
anyone who was given Captain America's shield and was Gryffindor would have been like, yes, I'm Captain America now. Falcon didn't have this reaction. His reaction was, this isn't for me. I'm not Captain America. I don't deserve the right. Here you go. And it wasn't until John Walker committed an act of murder that he says, no, you can't have the shield. And even then, he says, I can't be Captain America. Here you go. Here you go, veteran. Here you go, Bucky. Here you go, someone else. Until he accepts the fact that Captain America chose me. And it wasn't until Bucky convinced him. He had to have outside help to have his confidence boosted. His humble, modest mentality and loyalty towards Steve was what drove him to not accept the shield and the title of Captain America for an entire season.
Now, for me, I'm going to write off of some of your stuff, but it's on the mentality of the hero. First, he receives from the hero. He goes on a hero's journey. The expectation that he's going to pick it up, he doesn't want to play a hero. He wants to be a hero. So he goes to a real hero, a war hero, or he goes to another real war hero. Not the one who didn't fight for America, but still, that was out of his control. Mm-hmm. Eventually, on his personal choices, he becomes a hero. But for Sam, he is hesitant to not falsify doing what's good, doing what's right for others. He stays humble. But when it comes to being a hero, like modern definition of whatever it is, it's picking up the phone, it's answering the call. And when John Walker's actions happen, like what you said, he answers the call. Okay, I will be the hero. I will be this hero. But I'm not playing it. I will be it, and I will be myself while I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. So he plays himself the hero. He doesn't play as the hero. He is himself being a hero.
I would say that... Gryffindor. Yeah, I think we can both like
soft
agree on both of our sides. We can see both of our arguments,
and they don't directly contradict each other at all. They literally like rap next to each other.
Exactly. And the one thing that we can both agree on is that he's not Ravenclaw or Slytherin because his whole mentality to solving a global situation was, you have to do better, Senator.
Like
Good talk. Good talk. You want to give some pointers?
You want a lollipop?
How?
It's like, do good. It's like, how do we do? Do what I did. It's like, we don't have wings. Do good.
That's the kind of dumb moral righteousness that only Gryffindors and Hufflepuffs have.
It's like, we
don't know how to do it. We just know that it can be done.
The problems that I have, I can just solve. They don't take time. They don't take, group communication. For me, it's literally like point A, point B, do it.
Exactly. So
America, do that.
So
Sam Wilson for president.
So with that said, a soft standstill on Falcon,
but not a disagreement because
if anything, it is the agree to disagree mentality to the fullest.
It's a stand dance, not a standstill.
Exactly. So with that said, we move on to the other half of Falcon and Winter Soldier, Bucky.
The Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Bucky, or. Even though I'm always pissed that at the very end of the season when it says Captain America and the Winter Soldier instead of Falcon and Winter Soldier, why didn't it say Captain America and the White Wolf?
That would have been cool, actually. That would have been really cool. Like
Bucky's whole journey was to move away from his persona as Winter Soldier.
Oh, what if season 2 was actually technically a separate series? It was like Falcon and Winter Soldier season 1, season
Captain
2.
America and the White Wolf.
Yes.
Anyway.
Man, I guess because
justice for Bucky.
Yeah, hashtag justice for Bucky.
So that said,
Bucky's a hard one for me, actually.
I chose fairly confidently in my decision. I chose Gryffindor.
I chose Slytherin.
You're thinking of Winter Soldier.
No, even as like a person, he still is pretty refusing, even when it comes to getting help for himself.
No, I would say that he's a Gryffindor because he is always because in the 40s he's always looking out for Steve. He's always willing to punch out the people who's punching his best friend, and on top of that, he is fully willing to enlist. He's fully willing to take his part as a soldier in the military, even though he doesn't think Steve should take part in it. He thinks he should. Steve, stay behind. He thinks he's doing the morally right thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing the kind thing. He's doing the right thing.
I don't disagree with that. But for me, I still say Slytherin as, like, the best Slytherin.
I would say Slytherin for Winter Soldier, but Bucky, I would say that he is full Gryffindor because, again, going back to Falcon Winter Soldier, when Sam gives away the shield, when Bucky realizes this, what's he do? He goes straight to Falcon and says, "You gave away the shield?"
Yeah, I say... Sorry.
You gave away the shield?
I still think he's the most confrontational Slytherin ever. His actions are direct. He stands up to bullies, but he doesn't really play fair necessarily.
I would say he plays relatively. I would say he plays fair as being disabled with an adamantium arm.
I mean,
is
also,
fair.
The fact that, one, he's slightly above Steve in terms of, like, strength because he has a super arm now, not just a super soldier arm, but like a super powered.
He has an adamantium arm.
Yeah, an adamantium arm. Well, now it's actually it's not adamantium.
It's
No, what is Black Panther's stuff made of?
vibranium. Oh, sorry, vibranium. Too
Was
many fake metals in the Marvel universe.
as the Winter Soldier, it wasn't adamantium, was it?
Nope, it was just metal.
I was gonna say it went from metal to, yeah.
I would say that he's not Slytherin because when in Falcon Winter Soldier, when the Dora Milaje take control of his arm, do the little boop 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 boop, and then
They
disable
got
his arm.
They got his passcode.
Exactly, and his arm falls off. His look of just pure like shock, like I trusted you, and you did this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do this to me? I gave you my trust.
Sad
I gave you
puppy.
my loyalty.
Sad puppy wolf.
Exactly. When he picks up his arm, it's just super slow and like, wow, you beat me in the worst way possible.
You say Hufflepuff?
I would say no. I would say Gryffindor.
Griffin.
I would say Gryffindor.
Oh, maybe I'm
Hufflepuff leaning.
I was just saying, maybe I think Slytherin might not doesn't sound as correct as Hufflepuff to me now. Honestly,
Fair. We're getting better.
I'm thinking Hufflepuff. I was thinking Slytherin because he still kills. He is as
Oh no,
able
he still
to
kills.
not kill
But I would
as
say that
Steve.
his willingness to kill aligns him with Gryffindor.
But that Steve's Gryffindoring, like
Steve is
a
a
Hufflepuff,
Hufflepuff.
but like his heroicness. I would say Bucky's is still more harsh because he's still able to kill, like, willingly, like, completely open to.
I would say that he is somewhere between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff for me because I would say that Bucky, World War II, is full-on Gryffindor.
Yeah,
I
murder
would
hero.
Exactly. I would say that post-Winter Soldier hacking, I would say that he leans more into a sort of introverted, what have I done mentality that I feel like could be Gryffindor, but could also be Hufflepuff.
Mm-hmm. But
I feel like it could be a completely distraught Gryffindor or a Hufflepuff who knows they've done something wrong.
Or just a Slytherin who really wants to do some sort of good. Just wants to throw something good out.
His entire life was pure cunning ambition, and now that he's free of all that, he wants to make up for it, but he doesn't know if he can. Which is why he's not Slytherin, because he feels such shame for it.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough pride to be a Slytherin, hence I redact back to Hufflepuff.
Fair. I still think Gryffindor, but fair enough.
He's an emotionally refusing Hufflepuff also in terms of his mentality. His personality doesn't really allow for any kind of, what is it called when you are vulnerability. He doesn't allow for a lot of vulnerability at all. And when there is, it stops him in his tracks as such a headstrong person.
I would say that at first he seems like more of a Hufflepuff, but when he's faced with when he's faced with any sort of adversity, even post Winter Soldier, his first reaction is call it out, go on the offense.
Yeah, like straight to offense.
Exactly.
like not really with a defense in mind.
Exactly. His mentality when he goes to confront Falcon about him giving away the shield isn't try to understand. It's you gave away the shield. You just ruined the memory of my best friend.
Yeah, not quite punch through physically, but punch through communication.
Exactly.
Wise.
I would say Gryffindor for sure.
I would say Hufflepuff.
Fair enough.
Understandably. Yeah.
Once again, understandably.
There's an understanding,
Especially with Falcon Winter Soldier with us.
Yeah, like it's such an agreeable spot. I say just as a side thing, the what was the group called? The
Flag Smashers.
I wanted to say Flag Shatter. The Flag Smashers are such an incorrect interpretation of a belief.
Yes.
That's all I'm just gonna say. In like
their first reaction, as they were introduced, they were like, "Oh, they thought that things were better with the blip." And at first, we were all like, "Oh, okay, so they're a terrorist mentality who thinks that Thanos was right and that half of the world should be dead." And then it's just sort of got caught up in the very political.
But then the politics of it is like they believed in no borders, and there's not really a lot wrong with that because it was like we are as a world, we are all like that. The hand I feel like is supposed to caress around the planet. It's
exactly. That's why that's their symbol.
Everyone assumes it's more like a Orwell style like eyeball over the earth where it's like a hand hiding or holding it. Their belief in that was like agreeable up until the blip and the killing. It's like, yeah, borders are kind of bad because we are all equally vulnerable to like a force like the blip. Like there shouldn't be some sort of disagreement. Why are we still fighting each other? Like blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's just my there's a philosophy issue in the interpretation of the Flag Smashers. And I feel like they could have been done as a Killmonger style.
Yes.
I can't disagree with you too much.
I feel like I liked Falcon Winter Soldier, but the ending sort of muffled it up.
You need to do better, Senator.
But with that said, let's move on to a much better Disney Plus series, I think we can all agree, and one that
it's funky. I like to describe it as vibrant and funky.
As we move on to the villains of the MCU.
Yeah, we're stepping into good villain territory.
We're moving on to Loki, and I think it's fairly certain which one Loki sides in. Yeah. I think he embodies all that is Slytherin.
Hufflepuff. I'm kidding.
Wow.
No.
He embodies all that is Slytherin.
He is literally the Slytherin, green and all.
Exactly.
He is the green of the Slytherin.
You were so. He has the hair flips of a Slytherin.
He has the backstabbing, knife in hand of a Slytherin.
What was the story that Thor said about Loki in Ragnarok? He transformed into a snake once, and I picked up the snake to admire it, and then he turned back into himself and said, "It's me!" and stabbed me. We were 8 at the time.
Oh man! But yeah, for Loki, he is the embodiment of every single piece of the belief, and the fact that I will defend myself emotionally for myself against myself, and I love myself, man. I'm
exactly. And how many Lokis backstabbed each other in order to get what they wanted? That is pure ambition.
Glorious purpose.
Still one of the best moments. It might be the best moment in the entire series.
Hashtag my real Loki.
Exactly. So let's move on to Ultron.
Ultron is kind of
Ultron's a bit of up in the air for me. I was between two houses.
I say Ravenclaw.
I say Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
All right. So I think the big thing with Ravenclaw for me, I feel like it is between Slytherin and Ravenclaw with Ultron. The big deciding point, apart from some of his dialogue.
Can I say?
Go ahead.
Cold and calculating, not like Vision. Vision is emotionally mature, like you said. Mm-hmm. Ultron, no emotional maturity. Mm-hmm. Violent outbursts, direct action, visceral reactions.
I would say that Ultron, his whole point, the reason why he's not a Slytherin is because if a Slytherin is going to destroy the world, they are going to take full part in recreating it in their image. Ultron doesn't want to do that. He wants to destroy
the world.
He wants to destroy the world, and he wants humanity to build itself back up better.
Mm-hmm. He wants to make humanity his doomsday.
Exactly.
Not like a doomsday event, like Doomsday the character.
Exactly. And the best part is the reason there was one line of dialogue that I was rewatching Age of Ultron, and I was like, yeah, he's a Ravenclaw, is because he's in a monument, and it's his introduction scene with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and he's talking about the monument and the history behind it, and he says, "I like that, the geometry of belief." I'm like, that's a Ravenclaw
That
thing
is
to
such
say.
a cold, calculated view of philosophy.
Exactly. That's not the type of philosophy that a Slytherin, a Gryffindor, or a Hufflepuff would have. A Ravenclaw would focus on the geometry of it, the science of it.
He has no emotional loyalty. He has emotional invalidation tactics.
Exactly, and he doesn't show the leadership of a Slytherin because literally any of him can be a leader. There is no leadership with him.
He is a singularity and a hive mind. He does not see individuality. He does not need loyalty. He does not need others. He has everything and doesn't need anything.
He is one of the many reasons why a robot villain will never be a Slytherin. They will always be seen as Ravenclaw because that sort of
unless their arc of a character is them developing some sort of emotional stability or emotional relationship.
Exactly. You look at the Borg.
Because then they're not a human.
You look at the Borg. You look at the Cybermen.
You look at the Daft Punk.
Exactly. They could be seen as Slytherin because of just how big they are, but in actuality, no. The reason they're that big is because of their Ravenclaw mindset.
Like, he's cold, calculating, no emotions. But when there are emotions, they are visceral and they are unloyal and they are unwieldy.
So yeah, we agree on Ultron. Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
All right.
Killmonger.
I feel like this is one that could be up in the air for a lot of people, but I am fully decisive in my answer. I know he is 1, 2, 3 Slytherin.
Hufflepuff.
Really?
He is a violent Hufflepuff.
I would say that he is a Slytherin who wants to do good.
Same thing as my argument for who did I say that for?
Was it Doctor Strange?
No.
Was it Scarlet Witch?
It was Black Widow, I believe.
Oh yeah. I agree with same thing I said with Black Widow, and I put Black Widow as Slytherin. I put Killmonger as Slytherin too. Because here's the thing. Killmonger shot his girlfriend. Shot his girlfriend when she was being taken hostage, and he said, "I'm sorry," and she was like, "I'm sorry, Eric, I'm sorry," and eventually he was like, and just shot her dead because no one's getting in the way of his plan. No one will stop him from becoming the leader of Wakanda. Wakanda, so that he can do what he views is necessary in order for his race to survive.
Now, I say the loyalty is evil. He is evil in every way.
Exactly. Slytherins can be loyal too, but their loyalty comes from a more evil place.
He's emotional, though. His loyalty is almost out of his control.
Slytherins can be emotional too. They can be very prideful.
It's not his pride, though. It's his pride toward something. It
is his pride. Just look at how he scars his.
Though.
Just look at how he scars his body. What's the first thing he said when his loyalty is questioned, when his skill is questioned? By Claw, I think it was. Yeah, Claw was dying, and Claw questioned his skill set, and he said, "I'm not worried about the forces of Wakanda. Look," and he shows him his scars and says, "Each one is for a kill."
I don't know, man. For me, I'm thinking he's just a violent, visceral Hufflepuff. That sounds very Slytherin, but he's not so sneaky. He's up front. He's right in the middle, and it's justified.
I would say he's
emotionally justified. When he does the pull down?
I would say he's undeniably sneaky because he is behind the scenes of Claw's whole plan for most of Black Panther.
But the killing right before the airplane escape?
And that's when he makes himself known. That's when he thinks, okay, it's enough time hiding in the shadows. I need to do this.
It's
this
not
has
that
to be
sneaky,
done.
though. It's literally I walk up to the walls. I am justified. Look, here's my lineage. Here's how I was wronged. That's
the prideful nature of Slytherin.
It's not
I was wrong. This is my lineage. That is my throne.
But it was still justified, though. Every one of his actions was justified. It wasn't so self-serving. Loki's was self-serving, not justified. He did not get the throne.
I would say it is
Killmonger gets the throne.
I would say that it is completely self-serving. It is self-serving his father's vision. It is self-serving his vision.
Loki didn't play the game.
Loki played the long game. He played the long.
Are you on Con? Just a weird question. Are you on Con?
Yeah, I'm on Con.
Okay. Just 10-minute warning.
Okay. So we move on to Wenwu because we can't agree on.
But for Killmonger, Hufflepuff, to the violence.
No, I would say Killmonger, Slytherin to the fullest that a Slytherin can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move on to Wenwu,
Gotcha.
who is the Mandarin of Shang-Chi.
The Mandarin of Shang-Chi?
Yes. Who
Like,
is technically not
Wenwu,
not the Mandarin.
Shang-Chi's father, the Mandarin from Iron Man is not the Mandarin. He's an actor. If there is a Mandarin, the real Mandarin
is from
Wenwu.
Shang-Chi, and he does not identify as the Mandarin.
No.
Because he makes a joke out of it. They named him after an orange.
Yeah, he is not. There is no Mandarin, really. Like, it's a character, it's an idea, it's an abstract thing that's been created and formulated.
Exactly.
But yeah, Wenwu is not the Mandarin. If there is a Mandarin, it's Wenwu. So there is
Exactly. So with that said,
yeah,
what Hogwarts house would you put him in?
Slytherin.
I put him in Gryffindor.
Cold, calculate.
He is not cold calculating. He is fully emotional. He is adamant. He is doing the right thing. He is doing the right thing for his.
Wait, I think I had Killmonger and Wenwu flipped.
Oh, so we agree on Killmonger
As a Hufflepuff?
No,
Oh no, he's a Hufflepuff.
I would say that
I have two Hufflepuffs.
I would say that Wenwu is a Gryffindor to the extreme that he was willing to kill anyone to do what he thought was right. It wasn't necessary, it was right. He actively thought that his wife was being imprisoned by her people. So what's his first thought? Save her. I don't care how many of you I have to kill, I will save my wife. He actively thought that, and that is the type of mentality that you would associate with a hero. It's just that we are from the perspective that he is the villain.
Man, that's still supporting my loyalty to the end, to the point of killing.
Loyalty also extends to Gryffindors and Slytherins. It's just different sorts of it's just different sorts of loyalties. If I feel like a Hufflepuff loyalty would extend to, I understand her ideals. I understand my wife would never want this.
So
Gryffindors would be
I must be so correct in my action to free her from this prison. So
I feel like that's the Gryffindor mentality. The Hufflepuff mentality would be, I know her ideals. I know she would never want me to attack her own people, so I will respect what she thinks.
I'm not sure, but I don't know.
The Gryffindor mentality is, you hurt my wife, I'm going to save her.
So, like, you think Gryffindor is like a Taken mentality?
Absolutely.
Like, I will find
Taken
you.
is a Gryffindor movie.
I'm struggling. I'm thinking like, if Taken is a Gryffindor movie, what is Nobody?
Nobody is
A Slytherin movie?
I would say it's somewhere between.
Between Slytherin and Gryffindor?
Maybe.
Okay. I don't know, man. For me, Wenwu seems like an emotional Hufflepuff because he breaks
I would say
down.
he's an emotional Gryffindor, which in itself is a Gryffindor.
I don't know. A lot of Gryffindors might not be too emotional, though. They might be a little more level-headed.
Gryffindors are ungodly emotional. They
Hufflepuffs,
are act first, think later.
I don't know, man. I feel like you'll see a Hufflepuff cry more openly.
Exactly. And how many times have you seen Wenwu cry?
Right when
Nope. He has never cried in that movie. He has always internalized his anger and thought, no, I'm going to kill the people who kill my wife. And when I think that someone actually has taken my wife, I'm going to save her.
I think I'm still gonna say Hufflepuff.
I'm gonna go Gryffindor.
We're stuck at a standstill for Wenwu.
Exactly, and we move on to our last, the big bad of the entire Marvel universe until Kang the Conqueror was a thing.
Yeah, or until we get Galactus eventually. Yeah.
We move on to Thanos, the big bad himself.
The
Purple Rick from Pawn Stars.
The Mad Titan from Pawn Stars.
Exactly. So with that said, I feel like everyone has their own mentality about who Thanos should be. I feel like I've heard arguments for literally every single house.
He is cold, calculating, thinks he's the hero, is emotionally loyal, dedicated, treats like emotionally towards his family, and who did I miss?
Has ungodly amounts of nerve.
And knowledge and scholarliness and knowing and relationships.
He's
and
brave.
Networking.
He's brave. He's loyal. He's cunning. He is wise.
The Sorting Hat would break, I think.
Exactly.
He would put a rip in it.
Exactly. So that's why I think with a heavy heart, I do have to say Slytherin.
Gryffindor.
Why do you think Gryffindor?
We're two sides of the same coin for this, I think, because of his super willingness from his perspective, his personality at its core. If it's enough to make Nebula, like, see, he is distraught, he's emotional, Hufflepuff, but he's so guided in a straight direction. He is not misguided, he's not lost, so he's not Slytherin enough, but he's so, I will do anything by any means possible for this overall great goal. That sounds so heroic. It must be Gryffindor. He's cold and also I forgot the cold and calculated thing about Ravenclaw.
I would say that he is Slytherin because he shifts all of those ideas. He twists all of his initially homicidal ideals and makes it so that it sounds like he's the hero. Like,
but is he twisting it, or is he just have a?
But
take
for example, Endgame. Endgame, he destroys the stones so that he says no one else can use them, and I can't be tempted to use them. Oh, what a humble thing to say! What a brave thing to do! Oh my God!
Oh, but an anti-temptation.
Exactly. That wasn't a humble move. That was a strategic move because he knew the Avengers would come back for him, and he knew that they could beat him because just half of them almost beat him before. So them angered up could possibly beat him. So what's the most logical thing to do? What's the best strategic thing to do? Destroy the stones.
Oh, but that still plays into his cold and calculating. That leans me towards Ravenclaw.
I would say that cold and calculating is a gray area that Slytherin and Ravenclaw mix into, but I feel like his ambition.
He's so nomadic and peaceful once it's over that he's not violent by nature. He's not like reductive. He doesn't want to break things down. He just wants a simple peace.
But even then, if
he's a peace seeker, then he's a hero.
If you went back to his excuse and you said that, okay, fine, he is doing this for the betterment of everyone else so that he can't be tempted. That still means that he was fully tempted to use that power again to his own benefit, which is a Slytherin mentality to the extreme.
He's such a tough thing.
He is ungodly tough.
He's a complicated character. He's hard to break down like this.
I spent 8 hours watching Infinity War and Endgame back to back to know both sides of Thanos to see which one does he fit into.
I still think he's a horribly inverted, well-rounded, and take the phrase well-rounded, invert it, you have an inverted round object. It's literally like flip it inside out, it's round again. He has all of those, but they're so backwards, so negative, so wrong. But they're still there.
I would say that he is a righteous Slytherin. If there is any sense of the word, a righteous Slytherin, that is Thanos. Why? Because, again, going back to his past, when he found out that his planet was on the brink of collapse, he was a scientist, which could lean into Ravenclaw, but his first reaction was, we need to kill half the population. What?
Well, to the end of my completely reasonable calculations based on what I've experienced in my life, because we need to see we need a backstory for Thanos really bad. Just what his life on Titan was.
But I would say that his ruthless mentality after when his past self comes back to the future, comes back to the future and finds that everything he has worked for is almost for nothing. His first mindset is to, okay, I'm going to destroy all life. I'm going to rebuild it in my image, and they are going to be great. And they are going to be grateful to me.
They don't know it, but they're going to be grateful. I have to stop this. I have to stop this this corrupt thing happening with the universe before it implodes on itself.
But I feel like that's sort of,
I can save so many people. I'm a hero.
But that sort of emotional distance that he has from everyone else, that he is fully willing to say, this is for your benefit.
Is he just so knowledgeable then? Does he just know? Well, he's so wrong, but he just knows. Like,
this is for your benefit. This is what is necessary. This is not what is wise. This is not the right thing to do. This is what is necessary. You will see that in the long run.
Not quite morally correct, but right. Like, what's the right choice I could make?
I would say that he does what is morally necessary. He doesn't do what is morally right. He doesn't do what is morally kind. He doesn't do what is morally wise. He does what is necessary because he views that no matter what, it will all work out in the long run for everyone else.
Can you fade the BSI up?
Fade the BSI up?
And con out, you know? because we're going to, you know. And then fade the BSI down here. Yeah. This is going to get cut out.
Okay.
And now fade the music back in.
And put back in con?
No. No con.
So,
as we were saying, sorry. Hard
Yeah.
clap. Back to the Thanos discussion, as you were saying.
back to the Thanos discussion. I still say that he did what is necessary. He didn't do what is wise. He didn't do what is right. He didn't do what is kind. He did what was necessary, what he thought was necessary for the betterment of everyone. Even if they don't know it, they will. They have to. And if they don't, I'll make it so.
So, I have to go on this big heroic journey to finish it.
I would still say that slides more into a Slytherin mentality.
I'm still thinking more towards hero, just a wrong hero.
I am
Not
adamant.
anti-hero, because he still wants to make the right choices. I still say Gryffindor.
I say he is a righteous Slytherin.
So, I'd say we are hard at this.
We are
standstill.
hard at this standstill.
But we're not wrong.
We see each other's arguments. It's not like Spider-Man,
No.
where we're like, no, 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 no.
It really goes to show where our emotional maturity's at.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, for that, I just want to say, you guys, duke it out. Duke it out like we did.
Exactly.
Tell us, are we wrong? Are we right? Fight us.
exactly. And, well, who would you say, now that we've described and we've gone in depth into the personalities of the Avengers, who would you say you're most like?
Who am I most like?
Who are you most like? Of all the
you
Avengers.
tell me who I'm most like, and I'll tell you who you're most like.
Out of all of them, I would say you are most like, maybe Ant-Man, maybe Bucky, probably Bucky.
Probably Bucky.
Actually, no, probably maybe Falcon.
Maybe,
Yeah, maybe Falcon. Yeah,
maybe Falcon.
yeah, Falcon. I would say that you're more like Falcon.
For you, I want to say Loki, but I don't know. I don't think you're spineless enough.
Thank you.
You're somewhere between Black Panther and oh, that's tough. Ultron. You're somewhere between Black Panther and Ultron. Either say mostly kind of Ultron.
Damn it, that's still between Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. Well, I put you in either Gryffindor or Hufflepuff, depending.
Yeah, I think that's how we see each other with that, at least in comparison to this.
Exactly. So,
So, yeah.
what did you think? We got some good discussions out of it.
I was worried we would cut short. I say this every time.
This
so
is why I did 20. This is why I did 20 characters, because I knew we could get a lot out of it.
you got to throw more things at me that I doubt, pretty much. So,
Exactly.
and let me refuse as many times as possible to prep for these ideas that you have.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse
you.
me.
You gotta stop with that, because you're sneezing and my nose is itchy as
My
hell.
nose is itchy.
I don't know why.
It's an itchy room, dude. Itchy.
Allergies. Allergy season, man.
Oh no.
It's in full effect.
The spring fever. No, the spring sneezer.
Exactly. So,
my favorite song
with that
by
said,
Sneezer.
so with that said, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Real Wreckers. That is REEL_RECKERS, so that you can stay up to date on our polls and know what we're doing next week.
And our TikTok at Real Wreckers. That's REELRECKERS to stay up to date on all of our polls and for a shot at a shout out next time.
Until then, I'm Billy,
And I'm Dalton.
and you can consider this real
Wrecked.